Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the Table for One show. I am the host, the Dungeon Master, and the player. This is session 6 of the Sunless Citadel. Previously, we left off as the party was exiting their long rest. They find themselves in Eustriel's former throne room. The torches have gone out, and the goblins have come in. So, without further ado, let's head into this combat session episode. See you there. The camera pans down from the top of the ceiling, slowly lowering. You see the party, a group of 4, a halfling ranger, his loyal dog, Dexter, at his side, a gnome cleric, and their friend, Meepo, the kobold inventor. Goblins are darting from pillar to pillar, as you are now in the Hall of Dragons. A double row of relief-carved marble columns march the length of this long, large hall. The worn carvings depict N-wing dragons. At this point in time, you see 5 goblins. They're doing a decent job darting from pillar to pillar, but it appears as though you're in combat with at least 5 goblins right now. And at the throne room is Grenell, the small goblin shaman who appears to be calling the shots. And by her side is a hobgoblin dressed in armors. I'll have you make a perception check. As you're making that check, 3 out of the 5 goblins step away from their pillars, and they have their scimitars in hand, and they inch closer. They don't appear to be friendly. 12. So it appears to be the goblin shaman is the one that is commanding this group of goblins. Meepo, she's the one in charge, or she's the goblin leader?
No, she's not the leader, that's Grenell. She was leader, not anymore. Hobgoblins, they call shots now. They took over. Goblin clan. She is not the leader. No more. She's very wicked.
Will you make one more perception check for Erky? Alright, 12. So 2 12s.
Oh, that's who it is? I thought her voice was familiar. Yeah, Meepo's right. She is wicked. She would stop into the prison cells now and again, and she would take... She's the one that took the kids. She did a lot of complaining, though. I'm pretty sure she's not pleased with those hobgoblins.
In Draconic, you yell, "Well, the missing kids. We wish you and your goblins no harm. We are here for the underlevel. We're here to retrieve those kids you took, and you get the fruit. Lower your weapons, and let us pass. No more of your goblins shall be injured." You can make a roll here. Let's see what... Persuasion at disadvantage. That sucks, because you rolled a natural 20. And then you got a 16 in the end. 23 and a 16. She understands what you're saying, but she wants none of it.
Yeah.
The hobgoblin seems to step towards Grenell and give her a little shove, and the two begin bickering until Grenell pushes off the hobgoblin with her staff and yells once more at the goblins. Alright, combat begins. You've already rolled initiative. At the top of the order is young Meepo. Or old Meepo. We have no idea. He appears to be young, though. Let's pull up the old map. So I actually need to keep track of this. So, you have... all 4 of you are about 15 feet from the door you once came through. To your north, there's a door, and to the south, there's a 10-foot wide passageway that would lead you eventually to the metallic cage room. There's a goblin standing in that 10-foot opening. There are 2 goblins to the west, a third to the west, a little further back, and then there's the 5th goblin right next to one of the hobgoblins. And then you have the hobgoblin and Grenell. So most of them are to the west. There's one that is pretty much behind you almost, because she or he is standing in that 10-foot passageway. And that is the closest one. A lot of them are using those pillars for protection. So these are the 5 you can see right now. Meepo notices goblin number 5, who is standing in that 10-foot hallway leading towards the metallic cage room. He finds a little bit of strength knowing that he is with his companions and he is in a group. He sprints forward, gripping tight the staff with a scorpion tied to the end of it, and swings forward, attempting to poke the goblin with a stinger of a scorpion. And that is a 2, so that will miss. He swings violently, smacking the scorpion into the wall, and then swinging it backwards, almost hitting Urki Timbers in the head.
Whoa, hey, watch, they're swinging at Meepo. Golly.
Meepo runs back, scooting to the right a little bit. He did not move more than 5 feet. He's still within range and avoids opportunity of attack. And that will bring us to a couple of the hidden goblins, which I've moved them off screen. They are still hidden in different rooms. But the next goblin that is in range that everyone can see is goblin number 5. And that is the one that Meepo attempted to attack. So he's going to pull out his scimitar, which was already out, and attempt to cut down at poor Meepo. So here we go. Rolls an 11 plus 4. That is a 15. I do believe that hits, and it does. So swings out. I'm going to make a 1d6 plus 2. 1, so 3. So slices poor Meepo right in the stomach. Quick swing of the blade. Jagged looking scimitar thing. Slices right through the abdomen and cuts Meepo for 3. Not a deep wound, but it's enough to cause some pain and to remind you that this is combat and this is not a game. And then the goblin is going to attempt to dart back towards the hall and get away. And that will give both opportunities of attack. So let Meepo go first. Meepo misses with a 2. And Urki swings out with his club, and he'll miss with his mace. He rolled a 11 plus a 1, 12. Both party members swing forward, and they are unable to stop goblin number 5. He's all the way at the end of the hall now. Veers off to the left and to the right. He's still visible from Urki's side of things, and Meepo, if you would peer over past the pillar, you'd be able to see him as well. And that'll take us to goblin number 4. He's all the way at the end of the hall near the hobgoblin. He's going to take 1 step, 2 steps forward, and the only person he can see without moving around too much is Dexter the dog. So he's going to attempt to shoot with his busted up short bow, attempt to hit poor Dexter. That is a 10 plus, that's a 14, that will hit. So I roll for damage, 1d6 plus 2. Ooh, 4, so 6. So through the dark comes a arrow, crude, jagged, slices through the air and smoke, and skips off one of the ribs of poor Dexter the dog, causing it to howl in pain. And Dex, just like that, is down half his points. Alrighty, so that'll end goblin number 4's turn. He's going to remain directly in front of the hobgoblin. So he is but like a foot in front of him, looking down the long hallway at the party. So that takes us to Dempsey's turn. He's going to cast Hunter's Mark on goblin number 1, which is 10 feet in front of him, and he's going to attempt to shoot him with his bow. Alrighty, that's a 13, and that will miss. Unfortunately, indeed's a 15. I accidentally hit his hand axe. He hit with that, but he missed with his bow, so he shoots. There's just so many goblins, almost disorienting. However, the mystical mark is above goblin number 1's head. That will end his turn. He's not going to move. He's going to stay right where he is, but he's going to yell out to Grenell, the shaman. Call off your goblins. We wish you no harm. We only need access to the undergrowth. And that will take us to number 9's turn. Number 9 is currently in hiding, but he moves closer into the dark. He's in a different room. Takes us to goblin number 3. He is halfway between Grenell and the party. He steps out from the pillar he's hiding behind with his bow already loaded, and he lets an arrow fly towards Dempsey. So it goes to the side of goblin number 1 that attempts to hit. Alrighty, that will hit 18. 14 plus 4. Roll for damage. Yep, d6 plus 2, 4, 6. So, whack, right in the chest. It giggles and retreats back behind the pillar. Takes us to goblin number 2's turn. Goblin number 2 is right next to goblin number 1. just 10 feet in front of the party. He doesn't even have to really dart behind anything. He's already kind of halfway visible. And he does the same thing number 3 did. Lets a rip with his bow. It's a crudely made, halfway fallen apart bow that needs repair. Never really maintained properly. Just constantly used and thrown. Attempts to shoot. Poor Mr. Dempsey. Same thing, man. 14 plus 4. That's an 18. That'll hit. Oh man, 5 plus 2, 7. Whack! Just like that. Dempsey is in single digits, and really just one blow away from passing away. The group of goblins start to cheer and giggle even louder as they slam their scimitars against the pillars and dart from pillar to pillar. And that brings us to Dexter's turn. Dexter will leap forward towards goblin number 1 and attempt to give him a bite. Natural 1. Bites down on the scimitar, and let's go. Does no damage. That'll take us to goblin number 1's turn, who is going to lower his scimitar down onto poor Dexter the dog. And that will hit. 10 plus 4 is a 14. 1. There we go. So 3. Jeez Louise, man. Everyone's falling apart here. Dexter is now very critically injured. He already had a bow, an arrow, crack him in the ribs. He's already bleeding from that, and now he has another slash from a crudely maintained, jagged-looking, rusty scimitar. Goblin smiles with joy. He's going to attempt to fall back towards goblin number 3 and move closer to Grenell. That will give Dexter an opportunity of attack. And you'll roll a natural 1. You'll bite down and rip a piece of goblin number 1's armor, his cloak, and tear a piece off. Do no damage. That takes us to the hobgoblin's turn. And another show of dominance. The hobgoblin attempts to crack goblin number 4, who's standing right in front of him, over the head with his backside of his hand. Skirt him across the room. Let's roll for damage here. That will hit. Needed a 15. He got it. Whack! Over the head with the back of his fist, clutching his sword in his hand. Chooses not to decapitate the goblin with his long sword. Instead, he just kind of backhands it as it skirts across the floor. Doesn't go prone. Just kind of rolls over almost and back on his feet. And the goblin shrieks in pain and kind of flinches and cowers. It has not been the first time their hobgoblin overlords have lashed out. Filthy mother. The hobgoblin will stay where he's at. He spits in the direction of goblin number 4 and turns back and faces Grenell with disgust. Tensions are rising between the two. I'll have you roll a perception check, actually. See if you pick up on it. 16 plus 1, 17. Yes, even Dempsey from far back can tell. And with all the little info that Meepo and Erky have been providing, it is obvious that the hobgoblins are in control of the goblins, but it is not by choice. And that will take us to Erky. Erky's going to run up towards Dempsey. He doesn't have to run up, he just has to lean forward with one hand and casts Cure Wounds. It's a 1d8 plus 5. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So just like that, Mr. Dempsey is back in action. He went from 6 points to 16 points of health. Man, I want to cast a bonus action in Healing Word. I'm afraid to use every one of his healing attributes right now. I'm going to hold off for just a second. Hopefully things work out.
Here you go, Dempsey. Hold still, buddy. There we go. You should see your wounds start to heal up now. Don't you go dying on me. We need you and your bow. Stand tall.
Oh, thank you, Erky. We can do this. But it looks like the hobgoblins and the goblins are not getting along. I think that we have an opportunity to create more of a rift. Keep doing what you're doing, though. Everyone gather up. Don't let them swarm us. And that will take us over to Grenell. Grenell will take 5 feet of movement towards Hobgoblin and then start passing him on the left and start barking at the Hobgoblin.
No, I dare you touch mine.
And the Hobgoblin and Grenell continue their bickering as Grenell And the two jostle for position. And then Grendel lowers her staff and begins to face the battlefield once more. And it seems just like that, the disagreement has come to an end. They are still focusing on the battle. They're not actively fighting each other. Up to the top. Meepo can attempt to hit number 2 because Dexter the dog is technically within melee range of number 2. So he would have pack tactics. So he's going to use his sling with advantage and attempt to nail goblin number 2. Natural 20. That will hit. So it is a 1d4 plus 2. So 2d4 plus 2. Let's see. 4. Hell yeah. 7. There we go. Total of 7 plus 2, 9. Complete knockout. Just right above the nose. Center of the forehead. Rock just cracks the skull of the olive-colored, disgusting-looking goblin. Just cracks it. Shatters its skull as a big glob of red, black start oozing from the top of the nose as it slumps over dead. Way to go, Meepo. Need some of that. Keep doing what you're doing, Meepo. Well done.
Damn. Way to go, Meepo. There's like 20 more, though, so don't get too cocky.
Alright, Meepo's going to stay where he's at. Actually, he's going to jet back a few feet. So he's behind the wall because goblin number 5, who's down the hallway, has a clear shot at Meepo, and Meepo doesn't want to get hit. So Meepo is scooting back towards the kobold living quarters. Alright, that takes us to number 5's turn. He was the one that dreaded down the hallway. He has a clear shot at Erky Timbers right now, so he's not even going to move. He's going to just let it rip with his longbow. Man, they are rolling very well. That was a 19 plus 4. 23, that will hit. Because I dropped my dice. And that's 5 damage plus 2. So, 7 points. Right in the upper shoulder. Ah! It shrieks with glee at 7 points of damage are removed from Mr. Erky.
Oh, that's not good. That's gonna hurt. Ugh. Fucking goblins. God. Ugh.
Hang in there, Erky. Just keep peppering him. Fall back to me. Swing over here. Number 4, who is in front of the hobgoblin, he's going to dart down a hallway to the right of the hobgoblin and Grendel. He's now out of sight. And he's going to attempt to flank the party and meet up with goblin number 5. Alright, that takes us to Dempsey. Dempsey's going to swing around Erky, get in front of him now. An attempt to shoot down that hallway. He moved backwards, and he is now looking down the hallway, and now visible with number 5. Is going to attempt to take out number 5, who was just shooting at his buddy Erky. He's going to move Hunter's Mark on number 5. And he rolls an 8, and he has a plus 7, so that will hit. That's exactly what I needed. Alright. You don't really need to add the plus 6, you already got an 8 total. And the goblin has 7 health. So that takes him out. Whack! Right through the throat. In and out of the throat. And that is 2 goblins down. Ha. Take that, you filthy beast. Dempsey will attempt to yell out in Draconic, as that's the only language he has in common with the goblin, most likely. Grendel, we wish you no harm. Send off your troops. We'll take care of that hobgoblin for you right now. And that will take his turn. He's not going to move anymore. Goblin number 3 is going to dart out from his hiding. He's going to shoot Dexter the dog with his longbow. And that will hit. Unfortunately, he rolled a 9 plus a 4 is a 13. Gonna hit. Oh, Lord. And that's going to knock out Dexter. He rolled a 5 plus 2 is 7. It's another arrow. Slams into the poor dog, who is in front of the party right now. 10 feet in front of Dempsey. And 10 feet in front of Erky, in the middle of the chamber. Erky watches as Dexter the dog becomes a pincushion. As another arrow slides inside the dog, slumps over onto the ground. Dempsey doesn't catch what's going on. He's still behind a pillar because he's looking on that hallway. But he recognizes the yelp and looks at Erky, and that will end the goblin's turn. Now it's Dexter. He needs to make a death saving throw, which is a 15, so he's got one success. 2 more to go and he can be back alive. 3 fails and he's done for good. Ay. Goblin number 1's turn. Now that Dexter the dog is slumped over, he's going to step right in front of the hobgoblin, about 20 feet in front of him, but he's in the middle right now. He just darts out from his pillar and shoots over the unconscious dog and attempts to hit Erky Timbers with his bow. Thank goodness, that's a 4. First miss of the day, I swear. Slides into the dark and disappears. That is a miss. That's the hobgoblin's turn. Hobgoblin's going to turn to his left and tower over Grennel, and the two begin to mutter, which is incoherent and pretty much inaudible from how far away you guys are. Takes us to Erky.
Alright, excuse me here, Dempsey, but your dog is unconscious. With that, I cast Channel Divinity. Preserve life. Rise, Dexter. The gods restore your health.
Dexter pops up. He is now at half health. He is at 6 HP, and he has new life, thanks to the gods.
Alright, Dempsey, you owe me one.
And with that, he uses his bonus action and casts Bless on the 3 party members. So Meepo, Dempsey, and Dexter now have a +4 to their attack rolls and saving throws. So he uses his second spell slot. He has 1 left. He pulls out his canteen, sprinkles some holy water in his hand, throws it in the air, and it kind of blows around in the room, and like a veil falls upon the shoulders of Dexter the dog, Dempsey the ranger, and Meepo.
Alright, we need to start getting some kills here, guys. Hopefully this helps.
And that will end Erky's turn. He's going to stay where he was in the beginning. And that will bring us to Grennel.
Don't let up. Continue the fight.
Grennel barks orders at her goblins, stares down the hobgoblin, and that will end her turn. And just like that, it brings us up to the top of the round, and it is Meepo's turn. Meepo is going to take 10 feet of movement, so he is no longer behind Dempsey and Erky. He goes north 10 feet, and he is now directly in line with goblin number 3, who is just to the side of a pillar, about 25 feet forward to the west. So, Meepo wishes one of his comrades was in melee range, but they are not, so he's casting his sling forward. And that is a 16 plus the 4, that will hit. So, I will roll the d4 damage. That's 2 plus 2, 4. So -4 damage to goblin number 3.
Wow. Yes, Meepo did it again. Meepo struck again. Yes.
Meepo sidesteps back behind Erky and behind Dempsey, and he's behind a pillar now. Very, very close to the door in which he came through. And that will bring us to another goblin's turn. And that is goblin number 4's turn. And goblin number 4 is going to continue darting. He's going to continue darting over there. He's working through the hall. He was going to meet up with goblin number 5, but goblin number 5 is dead on the ground. And he's going to double his movement. He's using dash now. So he's almost there. 5 more feet, he would be able to see Dempsey in the hallway. And that will take us to Dempsey. Dempsey is going to... He's going to run up towards his dog, make sure his dog's doing good. Hang in there, Dexter. You're doing awesome. Fall back, though. Don't have to keep attacking. With that, he's standing over the shoulder of his dog, who's now on all fours. And he's going to fire away at goblin number 1. That will hit 15 plus 4, 19, as he moves his hunter's mark on his subject. And that is 4 points of damage. 1 plus a 3 is a 4. So he's going to use his d6. See if that hits. Ooh, that's a 5. So that's enough. With the hunter's mark, the arrow strikes the goblin in his forehead. And there it is lodged. The goblin falls forward, flat on his face, releasing the crude bow. The arrow that is knocked rolls off. And Dempsey will do his best to stare down Grennel and the hobgoblin, hoping they call off the troops. And that will end Dempsey's turn. Now we are at goblin number 3. So we have 3 goblins down. Goblin number 3 is not happy that Dexter the dog is back up on his feet. But Dexter the dog hasn't done anything yet. So he shoots over the back of Dexter the dog, hoping he strikes Dempsey's forehead. Is just peeking up over the dog's head. Man, that was almost a natural 20. It is a 2, and that will miss. 2 plus 4, 6. Miss. Cling. Hits the pillar about 5 feet above Dempsey's head and disintegrates. Splinters into dust. He falls back towards Grenell. Uses all his movement. And there he is. Gonna hide behind a pillar. That will end his turn. That is Dexter's turn now. Dexter wouldn't be able to reach anyone right now. The closest enemy is the hobgoblin, or is number 3. And that is about 30 some. Let's see how far that is. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Yeah, it's like 40 some feet. So you would have to dash. Dexter's going to swing back around, passing Dempsey, passing Erky, and he's going to fall back by the group. So that's where he will remain. That will take up his turn. Good boy, Dex. I don't want you to get any unnecessary hits. Hobgoblin, unpleased and unsatisfied with Grenell's leadership, takes about 10 feet of movement forward, pulls out his longsword, removes it from the scabbard, and stares down Dempsey. And that will take up his turn. That will take us to Mr. Erky. Erky is going to sidestep Dempsey. He's going to stare down the hobgoblin.
Dempsey's shot in the dark here, but what if we start attacking the hobgoblin? Maybe the goblins will follow suit. Sacred flame.
So the hobgoblin needs to make a dex saving throw of 12. And that is a 5 plus a 1. That'll be a 6. That'll be a failure. So roll a d8 here. Nice, that's a 6. The hobgoblin swings his long sword, hoping to put out these radiant heat and flames, demonstrating his swordsmanship. But it's too late. The burns do their work, bubble into his skin, causing pain. I really hope you didn't make things worse here, Erky. Either way, we're in this now.
Yeah, feels good to hurt him though. I'm gonna step behind you though.
And that'll bring us to Grenell. Grenell is watching everything that's going on, and she'll slam her staff onto the ground. And she'll bark additional orders. Make a perception check. Alright, 15. I mean, sounds as though she's calling for help. Erky and Dempsey can kind of decipher that. Meepo most likely heard that and knows what that means. And that will take up Grenell's turn. Back to the top of the order. Meepo darts forward about 15 feet and is now at the side of Dempsey.
Outsider. Grenell's calling for help. More goblins are coming.
It's not good. Meepo jumps in front of Dempsey once more, another 5 feet, and attempts to fling a rock towards Goblin number 3. He'd have a better shot at the hobgoblin, but a little intimidated by the hobgoblin. So, attempts to hit with his sling. That's a 12 plus 4. That will hit. 16. So, roll for damage. That is 4 points of damage. So that is enough to kill another goblin. Through the dark, the heavy stone flies, narrowly escaping one of the pillars in the process, and strikes the goblin in the dark. It grabs the pillar with its hand and slides down the marble column until it reaches the ground, and blood begins to pool around it. Goblin number 3 has been eliminated. Meepo will use the rest of his movement to get next to Dempsey and attempt to retreat. And that will take us to Goblin number 10. He answers the call. Let's have him roll a perception check here. Or, let's see. Roll something. Yeah, perception's fine. You should roll and see if he hears Grenel's call, which he is basically listening for. Alrighty. Goblin number 10 answers the call and swings open the door, which is in the middle of the rectangular room. He is halfway between Grenel and the party. He runs forward about 10 feet. He is now facing Dempsey, who is 20 feet forward. He has his crossbow readied, and he lets it rip. Oh, lordy. That's a natural 20. Whack. Let's see. That's not good. That's a 2. That's 4. So 6 plus 2. That's 8 points of damage. Oh. 8 points of damage Dempsey takes. And just like that, that takes half of Dempsey's health. The goblin is going to use the rest of his movement and fall back towards Grenel behind a pillar. And that will take us to goblin number 4's turn. He was the one. He's almost around the corner. He was trying to flank the group. He pops out in the hallway another 10 feet. He sees Erky and he sees the dog. He's going to shoot towards Erky. For Erky is the one that has been reviving the party. And that is a 3. Arrow clangs off the ground, skips forward, and rolls around in the dark. And that is unsuccessful. Goblin number 4 will continue to hide behind the wall in which he came from. So you'd have to run down that hallway in order to see him. And that will end his turn. That is now Dempsey's turn. Dempsey's going to slide his hunter's mark over the head of the hobgoblin. I like what you're thinking, Erky. I hope this works. Hope we're not making it worse. He attempts to shoot forward. That is a 19 plus 7, 26 to hit. You rolled a 7 plus a 3, that's a 10. We'll roll a d6 for your hunter's mark. That is a 1. 11 points of damage. It would only have taken 5 points of damage, but Dempsey is determined, and he's looking for a bit of a Hail Mary here, as the arrow flies true, striking the hobgoblin right in the chest, pierces his splint armor, or heavy armor, and the hobgoblin collapses in the battlefield. Oh my. We did you a service. Release your guards. As he slides behind the pillar, leaving a trail of blood, the arrow is still lodged in his chest. He falls back towards the room they came through. That will end his turn. And goblin number 9 will see that his partner, goblin number 10, exited the room. So he will follow suit. He will do the very same thing. He's going to walk 10 feet out the door and fire at Erky Timbers. Alright, I'm going to roll for damage, or roll for attack. That is a natural 1. So that will miss. Shot in the dark. He's too amped up. Jumps out. Should have probably aimed better. Instead, he just lets it fly. Hip firing it. Cracked in half as it slams into the pillar next to Erky.
What was that? Oh, lordy.
Goblin number 10 will use the rest of his movement, falling back towards Grenel. And that takes us to Dexter's turn. Let's see what movement he has. Wow, he has a good movement. He has 40 feet. So, I wonder if he can make it all the way down the hallway. He can. He can make it all the way down the hallway and attempt to attack Goblin number 4, who is hiding around the corner. He's going to attempt to bite him. And that is a 14. He has a plus 4. I have to remember, though, we have Bless. So, that does hit. Alright, let's roll for damage on that when he attempts to bite the midsection of Goblin number 4. 3 plus 1, 4. That will do it. Goblin number 4 dies a rather horrific death as he is ripped to shreds by a dog about the same size as him. All the party really hears is just yelps, armor being clanged, swords being dropped, and then silence as the dog takes the rest of his movement and heads back, almost meeting Meepo and Dempsey. Not quite, as Goblin number 4 is eliminated. And that takes us to Mr. Erky. A gnome cleric mutters a short prayer, stepping forward 5 feet, and casts Sacred Flame on goblin number 10, who is the last remaining goblin in view. And so goblin number 10 has to make a dex save. He needs 12. And he rolled a natural 1. So that will fail. Erky can roll a d8. And that's 7 points of damage. The goblin, before he knows it, is shrieking in pain. As radiant heat swallows him whole as he collapses onto the ground. Short bow and arrow roll forward. Grenell is all that remains on the battlefield as the party looks forward.
Unless you wish to meet the same fate as your hobgoblin overlords, drop your staff on the ground and walk forward.
Got a persuasion check. Or maybe an intimidation. We'll see. Yeah, intimidation. That was a 10. What is your modifier here? +0. So 10 + 0. 10. Math. We're going to continue with the order. That takes us to goblin number 7's turn, who is also hiding. I will roll a perception check with advantage because there's so much noise going on and yelling. That is enough. He rolled a 12. He heard the call, and he bursts open the door, running forward, scimitar in hand. Unsure of what he's meeting, he finds Erky, because his door was to the north. So when you walk out that door, where the party came from originally after spending the night, the door he came through is about 15 feet to the west and to the north. So it's one of the first doors out there. He bursts open the door, and he is about 40 feet down from Grenell, scimitar in hand. He flings his crudely made scimitar at Erky Timbers. Roll attack. 11. Plus what? 4, I think? 11 plus 4. I don't believe that hits. It does not. Erky has, at the moment, 17 for AC. He is the tank. Somehow. Scimitar whips into the chest. The chainmail chest piece that Erky is now sporting. It causes no damage. And the goblin will use Nimble Escape as he disengages and runs toward Grenell, attempting to hide by one of the pillars. It is now Grenell's turn. Inching closer towards Erky Timbers, unrobes her crossbow with one hand holding her staff in the other, and fires towards Erky Timbers. 22, that will hit. Roll a d6. 3, so +2. 3 + 2 is 5 total. And just like that, a crude crossbow bolt, rusty, unmaintained bits of metal, jagged and sharp, launch and fly through the air and penetrate Erky's chainmail armor and lodge itself in his abdomen.
Ah! Oh my god. Oh.
Grenell will smirk as she slides behind a pillar, ending her turn. That'll take us to Meepo. Hugging the southern wall, he peeks to the side of a column and stares down goblin number 7, hoping his rock strikes true. He rolled a 10, but we are going to roll Bless as well. Let's see, I think it's a +4. Yep, D4. Where is dice? Found it. So 12 plus the 4 is a 16. The Bless did come in handy that time. Roll a D6. Just kidding, roll a D4. He rolled a 4. 4 plus 2, 6. Whack! Meepo almost takes another life as goblin number 7 holds on with 1 HP left. Goblin number 7 is bleeding from the head. Some of its jagged teeth are now on the floor as it is struck in the head with a rock 10 feet from where Meepo stands. Meepo returns and finds Dempsey. And that will end Meepo's turn. Goblin number 6 steps out and introduces himself to the battlefield. As he falls forward, going through the door Goblin number 7 just came through, he answers Grenel's call, and he sees Meepo. So he's going to run 15 feet forward, scimitar in hand. Rolls a 10, plus 4, that's a 14. That will hit. Roll a d6. 2, plus 2, 4 points of damage. Meepo is carved right down the center of his chest. Blood splatters the ground. The goblin smiles with pleasure and retreats back towards its party members. Another goblin emerges from that room. Goblin number 8 does the same thing, runs towards Meepo, scimitar in hand, and attempts to finish what number 6 started. And that will also hit. He rolled a 12, plus 4, 16. 2 plus 2, 4 points of damage. Meepo is once again very close to going unconscious, as he is left with just 1 HP. The goblin uses nimble escape and returns to the room in which he came from. Dempsey is staring down at goblin number 6, and it's just survival mode right now. He's shooting, anything he can see, and it just happens to be goblin number 6. And he shoots after transferring his hunter's mark. Pulls back his bow, but he is exhausted. It does not strike his victim with full force. It slams into the wall a few feet from number 6 before it breaks. Dempsey, with what little health he has, calls out towards Grenel. We will help you free. We will free you from your hobgoblins, overlords. But if you kill us, you are no closer to being free. And he steps in front of his friends. Meepo, hoping to take Meepo's next blow, ending his turn. Very little hope is left in Dempsey's voice. And that will take us to Dexter, who is going to run forward and make a turn to the right and attempt to attack number 6. As he runs past Meepo, past Dempsey, weaving to the right, leaping forward to goblin number 6. And that will miss. He rolled a 2. Spent all his energy running, leaping forward, slamming off the scimitar of number 6. And the two tussle for a brief moment before the dog is pushed off. No damage is done, and that will end his turn. So it is now Urki's turn. He sidesteps 5 feet and casts Sacred Flame on goblin number 7. So, number 7 needs to make a dexterity saving throw of 12. He rolls a 3, so he only has 1 health, so that is enough. Don't even have to roll it. Slumps backwards, head striking the wall, crumples to the ground, dead.
We've seen how those hobgoblins treat you and your goblin friends. Lay down your staff, shaman. Let us help you.
I'll have you roll another persuasion check with advantage now. 5, 10, plus 0, so 10. It feels as though you are making progress, but the numbers are still pretty even, so it seems as though Grenel's continuing her pursuit. But there's hope. Grenel emerges from the pillar she's hiding behind and marches towards Urki.
Silence, priest. Enough with your blasphemy.
Grenel casts poison spray. She extends her hand towards Urki and projects a puff of noxious gas from her palms and staff. And Urki needs to roll a Constitution saving throw. He rolls a 14 plus a 2. Looks like Urki Timbers succeeds and takes no damage.
Foul tricks are no use here. Ugh. The light is too strong.
Grenel will run off in frustration, using nimble escape, and return into the shadows. You're unsure if she's changing her tune now, She seems pretty insistent on destroying you. But you are correct in assuming she does not want to be under control by the hobgoblins. So that takes us up to the top of the order, and that is Meepo's turn. Meepo will sidestep the pillar, moving past Dempsey, past the dog, and make his way towards the door in which he came through originally. And he will see goblin number 6 in his crosshairs. The good thing about goblin number 6 is he is within melee range with Dexter the dog, so he has advantage using his sling again. He's had great success with that. 18, that will hit. And 12, yeah, so he hits. Roll a d4. Nice. 4 plus 2, 6. With just 1 HP left, Meepo returns the favor, throwing his stone just 10 feet from the goblin's head. It cracks into his skull, causing the goblin to flinch and smack his head in the back of the wall. Meepo will open the door and take a few steps inside his chambers, and that will end Meepo's turn. Number 6, you need to undo that. You do not have advantage because Dexter is unconscious. So, not that it matters, you rolled an 18 your first time anyway. So you would hit, and then you didn't roll bless if you wanted to. But either way, you hit. But just remember, Dex is unconscious. Things are not looking very good at the moment. And that takes us to number 6. That takes us to his turn. He's going to step around Fallen Dog, moving west towards Grinnell. He's going to shoot. He's going to shoot at Dempsey, since he is the closest enemy. He rolls a 7, plus a 4, and an 11. That will miss. Flies past Dempsey to the right, piercing through the hallway, and off in the distance, some 40-50 feet, you hear the bolt land and roll around on the stone floor. Number 6 will move all the way back towards Grinnell now, and that will end his turn. And that takes us to number 8. He's hiding behind the doorway. He jumps out once again, sees Dempsey, and fires his bow, short bow. That is a 6 plus 4, 10. That will miss. He sees his buddy return and fall back towards Grinnell, and he does the same thing. And that will end Goblin number 8's turn. That will take us to Dempsey. Dempsey's going to fire at Goblin number 8, who just shot at him. He knows with one good hit, that should be enough to take out a full-grown, fully healthy goblin. So he attempts to fire at number 8. He will have his hunter's mark, if needed. Perfect. 14 plus 7, 21. So that will hit. Cast your longbow. It's 10 points for the longbow. 7 plus 3. And then 5, so 15. Great force and velocity. The arrow, with less than a blink of an eye, flies through the air and slides through the goblin's leather hide armor, puncturing its lungs, causing it to collapse on the floor just moments ago where it ran. It is now dead. So that leaves one goblin with 1 HP, and that leaves Grinnell in the room as well. And that is all that we see so far. And that takes us to Dexter, who needs to make a saving throw. He rolls a natural 20. That will succeed. So, Dexter holds on for the time being, and that will end his turn. And I forgot to mention, Dempsey will just use some of his movement speed, and he's going to take a couple steps closer towards his dog, Dexter. And he's going to yell out to Grinnell, "Last chance, shaman." And that will take us to Mr. Erky Timbers. Erky's going to continue doing what he has been doing, and he's going to attempt to use Sacred Flame. So the goblin number 6, who just has 1 health point left, needs to make a dexterity saving throw. 4 plus 2, 6. That will fail. So, just for the sake of doing it, he rolled a 1. That's all I needed. So a little bit of radiant heat. The heat swarms what's left of the goblin and consumes him as he rots away underneath his armor and slides back onto the ground. And goblin number 6 now dead. That leaves only Grenell against Erky, Timbers, and Dempsey. The dog has also fallen on the floor. The open chamber is now littered with corpses. Both parties are sporting wounds, yet the battle continues. That takes us to Grenell. She's going to step forward, slam her staff back onto the ground, and call for aid.
Now,
The shaman lowers her staff after calling for aid.
we goblins will listen to you, priest. Now is your time to speak.
And for the time being, that will end combat. And as that is happening, goblin number 9, who's the only goblin left, emerges from the shadows, exiting one of the rooms, and meets up with Grenell after stepping over some of the corpses. Goblin is gripping tight, his bow and arrow, waiting for word. And it appears to be the only goblin remaining that is left and able to fight and protect Grenell. Roll a perception check. Alright, 16, 15 plus 1. It appears as though goblin number 9 was originally upset seeing all of their companions lying on the floor, but it didn't look like they felt the same way when they saw the hobgoblin on the ground. They did a double take before looking back at Grenell. Erky looks back at Dempsey, who is standing over his dog, somewhat scrouched, with his bow already knocked with an arrow.
Meepo, come out. I'm gonna need your help for this one. Shaman, lower your staff, and have your goblin there lower his bow.
Lower your bow first.
Dempsey, you heard her. If we want these conversations to go anywhere, I say we follow her lead.
Dempsey reluctantly lowers his bow.
Meepo, get over here.
Yes. Yes, priest.
Is it true the hobgoblins took over this goblin clan? Reluctantly?
Hobgoblins are wicked. They don't negotiate. They took over clan. Yes.
Was that your leader, Grenell? That hobgoblin? Or are there more?
Leader, never. Dern, leader of hobgoblins. I will take you to Dern, but I will not follow. We were sent by Dern to kill Ustrel, and to bring back Dragon. Dern will be expecting our return. We will be back in short time. You rest. I will take you to Dern, but I will not take you all the way.
Grenell looks at her goblin companion and makes way towards an exit.
Rest. Then I will bring you to Dern. If you kill Dern, you can leave.
Sounds like she's taking the rest of the goblins. She's gathering up the rest of her troops. And she keeps going in between Draconic and some other language, maybe Goblin. We have one more question for you though, Grenell, before you leave.
Yes, priest. Speak now.
How many are we going up against? How many hobgoblins? And what should we do to prepare for this fight? As you can see, we've depleted most of our resources. Will you help us fight?
I will give you all the information you need. I haven't decided if we will help. It is a suicide mission.
How many are we talking here?
3. Dern, the leader, and 2 other hobgoblins. That is all that is left. There are but a few goblins left in my troop. I will gather them, speak with Dern, and buy you some time. Rest. And I will gather my troops and exit, leaving Dern exposed. Do not harm any of my fellow goblins. They will grant you safe passage.
She motions to her goblin companion and exits the door to the north.
You have no idea the restraint it took you guys. I could have killed her right there. See what I had to deal with there, Dempsey, for 2 months? I should not have let her go. I should have killed her.
You did the right thing there. Turkey. Let's drag Dexter back into our encampment, I guess. We need a rest. I hope it's not a trap. But then again, there's nothing we can do if it is. Come on.
Yeah, Meepo help you carry dog.
Thanks, Meepo. Meepo, I got it here. Can you gather the rest of those arrows? Can you scavenge the area? I'm running low.
Here, Meepo, I got the dog.
You and the party drag your dog into the chamber, and you lock the door once more. Your dog is still making death saving throws, but I figured, just for the sake of the story, we would put that on pause and say it kind of took place shortly after the conversation with Grenell. Erky has a cantrip called Spare the Dying. He touches Dexter, a living creature that has 0 hit points, and the creature becomes stable. It is instantaneous.
Step aside, Dempsey. I've got this one. I place both hands on Dexter here, and I recite my prayer to Chon Tia, the Earth Mother, god of the life domain. There. It'll take a moment, but Dexter's stable. He'll be fine. I don't know if he's gonna be ready to fight, though. An hour's time will go by fast. He might need longer, but I can't tell.
Dempsey gives Erky a hug. Come here, buddy. Thank you. Sorry you have to spend another moment in this godforsaken place. But thanks. Good work there, Meepo. I think you have the highest body count right now. You're very good with your sling.
You're welcome. I like to kill goblins.
No, that's one thing we all have in common, it seems. So, Meepo, anything you can tell us about Dern before we do this? Let's eat the rest of these rations, I guess, and fuel up on water here. Here you go, Dempsey. Give some to the Dex. Here's the rest of my canteen.
Yeah, we all need a rest. Debating whether or not to prepare some good berries or save my resources.
Yes, that was Grenell. She wants to be the chief of the Durbaluk tribe. But Dern, the hobgoblin, he took over, forced Goblin to worship him and serve him. He's too strong. For now, he is chief. Grenell does not like Dern. Grenell does not like Outcast either, who is below. Which I've never been below, nor have I ever met Outcast. But Grenell does not like them. Goblins are afraid to go down. Dern does whatever Balak, the Outcast, tells him to do.
Very well. I believe her story's adding up then, I guess. Hopefully she's telling the truth. Either way, we need a rest.
Yeah, thanks. Sounds like he's not gonna go down willingly. I don't think there's gonna be any negotiating with a hobgoblin. Either way, we'll find out our fate here in an hour's time.
So, you are able to spend the 1 hour at a time eating and resting. The hour comes and goes. Hard to tell how long has passed. Could be closer to 2 hours, you're not quite sure. But you receive a knock at the door. So, you'll have to roll your dice and get everyone squared away here with their short rest. Good thing is Erky regains some of his spells, at least one of his domain spells, so he's able to heal if needed. And then we'll see about Dexter the dog, if he's able to benefit from short rest or not. I'll have to read into that one. But you, Erky, and Meepo open the door. You unlatch it, prepared for the worst. You open the door and you see there are 3 goblins. Grenell is not anywhere visible. It is just 3 goblins. They look like all the other goblins you've slain. And they are kind of bopping up and down, eagerly. I'll be roll perception here. Alright, 5 plus 2, 7. You are unsure if they are giddy with excitement because they're about ready to lure you and do a trap, or if they are excited because you are about to take on the hobgoblin overlords and possibly free them. So, with that, you look over your party and you agree to follow the goblins and take on Dern or whatever lies ahead. And with that, I believe it is a good time to end this session. This ended up being like 2 sessions in one. So, If you like combat, you got combat. But either way, move the needle forward. Story has been pushed forward for sure. Until next time, goodbye.